Hello friends and welcome to my channel. In this video I wanted to show you our vlog from the end of April of this year, focusing on Amalfi Coast in Italy. Amalfi Coast is located south of Naples. We spent 2 days there in Positano, Amalfi and Atrani. So we made it to Positano. The drive wasn't actually bad. Pepe told me that we definitely gonna get dizzy, but it was all good. I think it was a very smooth taxi ride. It took us around 1 hour 20 minutes to get here. The room is not ready yet, so we are just gonna walk around a little bit. We left the bags, the suitcases there, and we're just gonna see if there is any place and any nice restaurant for lunch. We found a really nice place that didn't require a reservation. That was just about 3 minutes walking from the hotel, called Ohima. I got this really nice salad, but was still hungry, so stole a couple of pieces of Pepe's pizza. In Positano we stayed for 2 nights in total, and we stayed both nights in different hotels. The first night we spent in Hotel Royal Prisco, which was located in a slightly kind of upper middle part of Positano, I would say. Not too close to the city center, but not too far either. We stayed in a room with a panoramic view, the view of the whole town, and it was gorgeous. The hotel was a 3-star hotel, and it wasn't cheap. Positano in general is not a cheap destination. And even though we went to Positano right at the start of the season, just so you know, the season in Positano starts in April, sometimes in the middle, sometimes in the beginning of April, but it is generally much cheaper in April because the weather is quite unpredictable. For example, on the first day in Positano, we had about 14 to 15 degrees. It was raining from time to time. Overall, it wasn't too bad, but it was definitely not too warm. However, the next day we had a really nice, warm and sunny day. But it really depends from year to year. Sometimes you get years when it is over 20 degrees in Positano, and sometimes you get some really bad, rainy and stormy weather. Once we reached the main beach in Positano, we went to the right side on a little walk. The walk is definitely really little. It takes less than 10 minutes to reach this beautiful bay. This is another beach, and I feel like it gets pretty cramped during the high season, but right now there was almost no one. Lots of stairs in Positano. But yeah, in general, there are lots of stairs in Positano, especially if you're staying in one of the hotels or apartments located in the upper part of a town. It would take you around 25 to 30 minutes to climb all the stairs to get there, or you might also want to take a taxi if you don't want to climb all these stairs. Because of that, I recommend bringing comfortable shoes. Don't bring high heels for sure, because it's gonna be a torture to walk in them unless you're just taking a taxi to a nice restaurant. In our case, we reached our hotel in about 10 minutes from the beach, and then went to the dinner in a place called Da Vicenzo. Next morning we had a panoramic breakfast with a view in our hotel. Actually, we didn't need to pay extra for that. The hotel included this breakfast by default for all the clients staying in rooms with sea view, just because they don't have a room to serve breakfast, which I think is a great perk. We suspect this is our ferry to go to Amalfi, so the journey to Amalfi only takes about 20 to 25 minutes. Today the sea is a bit wavy, so I'm a bit worried because I do get seasick really easily, so let's see how it goes. Everybody looks alrightish, so yeah, let's see. If you're wondering, the ticket to Amalfi costs 20 euros per person return, and the departures are more or less every hour right now, and it's not the highest season yet, so it might be a bit more often in summer. We didn't buy tickets in advance, we actually bought them in one of the booths, but I'm not too sure if it's the same case during the high season, or during the high season you actually need to buy them beforehand because they do tend to get fully booked. Ours was almost fully booked, even though it was just the start of the season, but it was a weekend. As I mentioned before, we were much luckier with the weather this day. It was sunny all day, it was also much warmer, but of course when you're on the ferry it's quite windy, so I recommend bringing a light jacket or a hoodie with you because it does tend to get a little bit chilly.
Slow. Oh, that's another few.
Okay, so the boat ride took more like 50 minutes rather than 25 for some reason. I guess because of the strong waves and strong wind. But we made it eventually to Amalfi, and it's also really busy, just like Positano. Looks slightly different, but still very charming, very beautiful. We're gonna just walk around and explore, and then find some place for lunch as well.
We spent a few minutes on this gorgeous beach of Amalfi and then decided to explore the neighboring town called Atrani.
I think Amalfi is in desperate need of better sidewalks because they are literally sharing the road with the cars. And look how many there are.
So Atrani, or Atrani, I'm not too sure how to pronounce it correctly, please write down in the comments below if you know, is a town that looks like it's part of Amalfi. If you look on the map, it's so close to Amalfi, it's literally just 10 to 15 minutes walking. And there are two roads leading there. So one path is the road you share with the cars, and another one is the upper path. We decided to take the upper route on the way back. So Atrani is a very small town, but it's very authentic and has gorgeous views. And what is also very unique about this town is that it is not as touristy as Amalfi. It was virtually empty, so we could enjoy this labyrinth of stairs and little paths in the old town. But also, of course, it's worth mentioning that there is not that much to do there because all the main attractions are in Amalfi.
It's like a labyrinth, and I'm not sure that we are going the right way. Are you?
Yes, I am.
I still recommend walking there because you will see these gorgeous views.
This is the upper walk to Amalfi. This one is apparently so far has been way less stressful than the one down there because you are sharing the road with the cars and some of them do ride quite fast.
I'm not sure if that's because we already walked a part of the path by climbing all the stairs, or this walk is generally a lot shorter and faster, or because we were just so blown away by these gorgeous views, but it felt like we got back to Amalfi in about 5 to 10 minutes, much faster than the original walk there. And we also ended up right in the heart of Amalfi town. So Amalfi town is one of the most important and one of the most beautiful towns in Amalfi Coast. The whole coast is named after this town after all. And we decided to check out the main square. As you can see, there are way more people, but we were quite hungry, so we decided to go. We were looking for a couple of restaurants. Some of them were still not open, some of them were too busy. So we found this restaurant on the main square called Ristorante Pizzeria Sant'Andrea, right next to the cathedral, and it had almost the best seafood I tried in my life. Everything was delicious and not too expensive, actually much cheaper than in Positano. So I definitely recommend this place. So Amalfi is actually part of UNESCO World Heritage and it has beautiful architecture. It's a medieval town. It used to be a very important port back in the 10th century. But right now it's just a very touristic and gorgeous place. There are lots of restaurants, there are so many shops, there are so many souvenirs you can buy there. So it's definitely a great destination for a day trip. And you can also stay there if you want. Sometimes hotels are actually a little bit cheaper than in Positano because Positano, even though it's a more famous destination, is a little bit overhyped, but lots of people actually prefer Amalfi a little bit more. We walked for about a couple of hours before heading back to the ferry. So we took a ferry at around 3 p.m. just because we wanted to spend some time at the hotel where we were staying today. As I mentioned before, we actually stayed at two different hotels. The reason for that is because today was my birthday and I wanted to splurge a little bit, treat myself and stay in a very iconic hotel. So our way back to Positano from Amalfi took about 45 minutes. We got back to Positano, went back to the old hotel, grabbed our bags and decided to walk all the way to the new hotel. So the walk was actually less than 10 minutes, so it didn't make sense to take a taxi. As you can see, it's so busy that it's sometimes faster to walk and we didn't have really big bags. So the hotel I was talking about, the iconic hotel with this gorgeous view, is called Le Sirenuse. I suspect because it was my birthday, we got a complimentary room upgrade because we originally didn't book a room with a balcony, but we got it and it was absolutely stunning. So big thanks to the hotel for that. After that, we actually ended up using the swimming pool for a little while. It was heated, which was really nice. As you can imagine, this hotel is on the pricier side because of its amazing location, its gorgeous Michelin star restaurant, and lots of activities that are actually included in the price. For example, we had a chance to attend an olive oil tasting free of charge. We actually were planning to take a boat tour the next morning, but unfortunately was cancelled because of the weather conditions. And of course, there are also plenty of paid activities you can book or take. And because again it was my birthday, we went to a nice restaurant called Ligali for a tasting menu. This restaurant was located right at the top of a town, so we walked there for about 20 minutes, maybe even more, and there were a lot of stairs, but it was definitely worth it. And the views from there were absolutely stunning. Before it got dark, we got to enjoy this absolute panoramic view of the whole Positano. Well, it's our last day on the Amalfi coast. Normally, I think we would take the advantage of the day and literally wake up first thing in the morning, grab a ferry and go somewhere like on Capri to explore, for example. But we are a little bit tired from all the walking yesterday and tomorrow. We're gonna wake up early and work. So instead we decided to rest today. We'll probably spend some time by the pool. Then we will go all the way up to have lunch, even though we're zero hungry because we've been eating most of the day. And we're gonna also walk around the remaining parts of Positano, which we haven't explored yet. So it will be a very quiet and chill day in Positano. And the reason why we didn't go to Capri this time is because I want to visit Capri on a separate trip and spend at least a couple of days there, and also visit Ischia again because I absolutely love Ischia. It's probably the place with the best food I've ever tried in the whole Italy. So yeah, today will be a little bit chilled and I'll just show you some remaining beautiful places in Positano. Feeling a bit sad to leave this beautiful place, this beautiful balcony and this gorgeous view. I loved sitting here and looking at the boats departing. It's always very nice to see. I can imagine how beautiful and amazing it is in summer when everybody's just chilling on the beach and resting. But well, unfortunately it's not for us to check out. Before that, we had a lovely breakfast. It was definitely one of the best breakfasts I had in the last few years. Le Sirenuse does not disappoint. There were like 5 or 6 different types of mozzarella and all the dishes were absolutely delicious. So if you have budget to stay in this hotel, I definitely recommend it. It's definitely one of the best hotels of the world, and we actually found it in the rating of the top 50 hotels of the world at that point. After checkout, we went for a little walk. We decided to explore another part of Positano. So previously we only walked to the beach through the city center, but this time we decided to go to the right from the hotel and found out that this area of Positano also has absolutely stunning views. So even if you're not staying at one of those kind of pricier hotels with the views, you can still enjoy those views for free and take gorgeous pictures of a town. and the walk is really short, so it's only about 10 minutes, then you reach a highway and there is nowhere else you can go.
The number of people there are in the town, the sidewalks are quite narrow usually. This one is not narrow at all, but even this one is, well, I think when this one gets really full.
But yeah, as I mentioned, it does get really crowded. It was already crowded on a Monday in April, so you can only imagine how crowded does Positano get in summer during the high season. It is probably hard to walk. We walked a little bit around the town, and then it was the time to go for lunch, even though we were not hungry at all. But lots of restaurants have designated lunch hours, so we just decided to eat something small before the restaurants close and stop serving lunch. So we went to this place called Il Tridente, and it had gorgeous panoramic views.
We decided to go for a little walk to burn the calories after lunch. This walk supposedly takes an hour, and it's a beautiful panoramic walk, and it should bring us directly to your hotel. Really nice views from here. And I think the walk is supposed to turn somewhere here. We are still going up, but the views are prettier and prettier from here. Here we reached the restaurant we went to yesterday.
An interesting fact about Positano. So even though in the medieval times it was actually a rich port, it gradually lost its importance, and at the beginning of the 20th century it was actually a very, very poor village with bad transport connections, until pretty much the mid 20th century, when and that was probably massively thanks to the author John Steinbeck, who stayed there, and he wrote so much about this town that it became popular among artists at first and then among the general public. And now it became this really expensive resort. Of course, the prices are above the average in Italy, but we actually enjoyed it a lot, and food was definitely great as well.
Our trip came to an end. We are waiting for our return transfer that we have pre-booked next to Garage Mandara, because it is extremely difficult to wait for it in front of the hotel, because it didn't have any place to stop whatsoever, so it cannot wait there at all. So we called the driver and he asked us to wait here, so he'll be here in a second. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and see you in the next video.